All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to break down Surah Talaq, a chapter from the Quran, and, this one, it's not at all what you might expect, just from the title.
I mean, think about it. Here's a chapter that's all about divorce, but then it ends by talking about the cosmos? It's a real head-scratcher, right? How on earth do you connect something so personal, like a separation, with the creation of the entire universe? Well, it turns out it's all about how a society shows that it's built on truth. The big idea here is that this isn't just a list of regulations. It's about taking a huge, universal truth and seeing how it plays out on the ground in our lives to build a fair society. And that all starts with the family.
So let's peel back the layers on this one. First up, why is this chapter more than just about divorce? To really get the big picture, we need to see why these specific laws are considered the bedrock for, well, everything else in society. The logic is pretty straightforward, really. You know how you build something big out of small bricks? Well, in this view, the family unit is the single most important building block of a society. If you can get that right, if you can establish fairness and truth there, then the whole structure becomes strong. It's that simple. Get the family right and you get society right.
And this is where we see two totally different ways of looking at it. You could glance at this and just see a list of rules, a bunch of do's and don'ts. But the deeper take is that it's actually a practical system designed to bring truth into the real world. It's not just for divorce, it's about defining everyone's rights and laying the foundation for a truly just social order.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 2, the laws of truth. How does this system actually work in practice? What are the specific rules that are supposed to guarantee fairness?
So, the absolute cornerstone of this whole process is something called the iddah, or the waiting period. And its main job is really specific, to find out for sure with zero doubt whether the woman is pregnant from that marriage.
And what's interesting is how the process isn't just a one-and-done thing. It's actually built in stages. You get a first chance and then a second chance to reconcile during that waiting period. It gives couples multiple opportunities to hit the pause button and maybe work things out before the divorce becomes final. The third time, though, that's it. Now, during this iddah period, the husband has some really clear responsibilities. He has to provide a place to live, in the same house in fact, and cover all her expenses, like food and clothing, and if she is pregnant, that support continues until the baby's born. He even pays her to breastfeed the child. The whole point is to make sure she and any potential child are completely taken care of while everyone waits for the truth to become clear.
All right, Section 3, you might be wondering, why go through all this trouble? Why is this waiting period so incredibly specific? Well, it all boils down to one thing: protecting the child.
Yeah, the source we're looking at doesn't mince words. It says the impact of a child not knowing for sure who their father is can be horrendous. And that's because, from this perspective, it can lead to a lifetime of social and psychological struggles for that child.
And this really highlights a major difference in legal philosophy that the source points out. On one side, you have what it calls a mother-centric approach, which focuses on financial support for the mother. But the Islamic approach here is described as children-centric. The number one goal isn't just money. It's to create absolute, unwavering certainty for the father so he knows the child is his and dedicates himself to them completely.
I mean, think about the level of commitment we're talking about. The source makes this incredible claim that a man will often spend more than 99% of what he earns on his family, not on himself. And the argument is, that kind of lifelong dedication, that only happens when there is zero doubt, when there's a sacred trust that these are his children.
So you see, it all connects. These rules aren't just for one person or one couple. They're designed to be the building blocks for protecting the entire family unit, which in turn builds a stable, just society. Let's look at that in Section 4.
So here's how it all stacks up. The absolute foundation, the base of everything, is clear lineage. Once you have that, it builds up to the next level, paternal responsibility. And when you have fathers who are fully committed, you get strong families. And strong families? That's what leads to social stability. It's like a domino effect. Okay, so just to recap, we've got the rules, we know why they exist, and we see the kind of society they're trying to build. But right when you think you've got it all figured out, the chapter takes this wild turn. And that brings us to our final section, a universal cosmic principle. Yeah, the surah doesn't end with the family. After going through all these incredibly detailed, down-to-earth rules about human relationships, the very last verse just zooms out to the scale of the entire universe. It says, "It is Allah who has created 7 heavens and of the earth the like of them.
His command descends among them. So suddenly, divorce law is being put right next to the creation of the cosmos. The big question is, why? What's the link?
The whole point of this final verse, according to the interpretation we're looking at, is to show that these laws of truth are universal. They're not just some good ideas somebody came up with for people on Earth. The idea is that these principles are woven into the very fabric of reality itself. They're transcendent.
And this ties into a really cool concept called fitra, which is basically our natural, built-in human disposition. The argument is that because our fundamental nature is constant, our needs, our emotions, the rights needed to protect us are also constant. So whether we're here on Earth or on some other Earth-like planet out there in the cosmos, these principles of justice would still apply.
And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If the laws that manage something as personal as a family are actually based on universal cosmic truths, what does that mean for our understanding of justice on a much, much bigger scale? It really makes you think, doesn't it?